Testing audio. Okay. Yep. Does anyone have any STO stuff they want to talk about this week? We finally know how much those, 3D printed ships cost, all that wonderful stuff. For the cost of the just one of those 3D printed ships, even the cheapest option, you can go out and buy a 3D printer. It's crazy. Let's see if I Yeah, so literally for the price of one of them ships, you can go out and get a really printer. Even the cheap ones, I have one here that's like 200 bucks or 160. Crazy how cheap these things are nowadays. What I'm wondering is, you hit that thing. Here, I'll go to the show it. There's always been a way to get like the ship models from the game, but that's against the terms of service. That was along the same method you'd do if you were data mining. There was someone on the Reddit Discord a while back showing off that they had a Odyssey that they had 3D printed. Heard a few others doing it, but what I'm wondering is if you use something like a Wireshark or some other tool to capture your outgoing traffic, if when you hit this 3D print this ship and it uploads, if it can, capture the model. I wonder how they upload it to that website. Because you wouldn't technically be breaking the game's terms of service if it pulled the model from capturing your outgoing traffic. Then you just print one yourself. That's the thing, yeah. It wouldn't be as good a quality. It's just, I'm just saying with that price. They do look decent from the pictures they've shown, but I do want to see more detailed pictures and stuff from people that actually buy them. There are the Eagle Moss models, but they're a bit smaller. Those are much cheaper. I'm gonna do something different. Let's see. EPS mark. Let's go for that. there an issue with the video? Something was messing up with the stream there. I just restarted it quick. Better now. Simon, they range from $200 to $350. $200 is the primer version, so you paint it yourself. Then there's an option for a single color, so like gold or black, you can get for I think it was $225, and then you can get them custom painted for $350. But these are just the introductory prices. After 2 weeks, they're gonna go up. Is there an issue with the video quality? Because YouTube's saying that there's some issue. Check my traits. Not need that in here. It's a bad run. Gotta get you to moving and DPS mark with this. Did some of these the other day and got like 170, but it's a bit tricky to get everything in your arc. Okay. Okay. So, you know, so far I'm impressed with the Kentari Bridge officers, the Year 5 colony. I only have one on, that's all you should run with them at all, really. But for each kill you get, or if you do damage to a target and a teammate kills it, it's a 2% damage buff, cat to all damage for 15 seconds, and it can have up to 5 stacks. So I'm not sure if it's worth it more than an SRO, but the Kentari, it's pretty well so far. I did some HSCs a few days ago using one of the colony turrets, and out of 2 or 3 runs, so about 10 to 15 minutes of gameplay, there was a total of 1 proc from the colony turret. Very disappointing. Oh, and these TAC consoles, yeah, colony ones really aren't worth it either. The healing they have isn't really the best thing ever. It's okay, but with the current meta, it's not beating a crit chance console. If you're Romulan, you've got better things you a lot for survivability, like the still very OP Valdor console. You know, they almost gave this the shield absorptive frequency generator. It's often called the Valdor console because it's off the Valdor and it's much easier to say. But they almost gave it to Federation and Klingons with the original Zindi lockbox. It's a shame they didn't because it is one of the most powerful survivability consoles in the game. It's crazy how much shield healing you get out of that thing. Something here. I'm gonna just plug an ISA. Feel like running Invincible. Probably gonna die because of that decision. So, no one got STO questions? Also, someone was complaining about the voice last week. Is it like cutting out near the end of me talking or something? So I've left the filters as they were last week. Wish we had more DOF slots. So, funny story here. There was an exploit last year. Few people did it, but it really annoyed me because it only worked on characters that had not already purchased the 6th DOF slot. But there was a way you could get multiple DOF slots, and people hit the actual hard-coded DOF cap, which is 8 active space and ground duty officers. Man, that was irritating. Something like that. Just think about what you could do with 2 extra duty officers. Best guess, when does the Gamma Recruit expansion roll out? You know, they just pushed that update to Tribble last week, or was it the week before? Not long ago, and I would say the soonest possible at this point would be 6 weeks, but I would have to say 6 to 8 weeks potentially for the expansion, or for some major update. They could be leaving this thing on Tribble for a really long time, but usually if they're pushing something to Tribble like that, then it's gonna be the next content release. So it would make sense that they do the Gamma Quadrant expansion right at the start of the summer. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that. As for a new mission, I don't know. I'm surprised there isn't one rolling right now. Yeah, I was gonna queue for an ISA. How bad this is. You gotta figure though, with the lack of like pretty much anything they've done now in the last 10 months, they must be doing a lot of stuff with this expansion. I hope. If this expansion doesn't have much in it, then there's a serious question of what have they been doing with their time. This is the lowest amount of content gone in very long time. Last year. I have no idea about the modifiers. not panic at things. Oh man, I am. I just put new batteries on the ship. How is it down to like 2 batteries? Terrible. This is a scatter volley build because they buff scatter volley quite a bit. I'm screwing up my positioning too much here. I already. Yeah. This isn't HSC. I gotta remember that. A few months ago, I largely swapped over to 5 Space Elite for DPS parsing because just doing these high-end builds in ISA. ISA is just, honestly, when you're past a certain DPS point, it's just terrible benchmark. Yeah, that's when I was doing the scatter, or not scatter volley, the rapid fire stuff. Like, it was crazy how powerful the rapid fire was in a bunch of the PvE queues. Getting amazing results with it. It upsets some people though. Like, I'm friends with many of the Reddit like mods and stuff, like STO builds, but there was just some of them that were being just complete whiny little about it. Just it was crazy. Like, I don't even get that level of salt, in first person shooters. Crazy how salty they were because it was ruining ISA runs. Yeah, rapid fire is terrible in ISA runs, but just adapt. First time something's come in and interrupted ISA runs. Scatter volley. Yeah, the scatter volley change was, I would imagine, their reaction to rapid fire. Because there was quite a bit of hatred towards rapid fire from some people. I saw a little bit from Spartan. It had me worried that they were actually going to go in and nerf rapid fire, but instead it seems their reaction was to buff scatter volley, which I think was a much better choice overall. Not just from a min-max point, but because with the scatter volley buff being what it is, it makes the scatter volley builds easier to use, and they're much more affordable for people than the rapid fire stuff. And with the scatter volley builds, they're still gonna be better than the thaw builds in most content. Just ISA is still the beam meta. Yeah, and that scatter volley trait, it's really cheap. It's only the 3,000 then 1,000 for if you action. Valiant or in Malum. Yeah, it was between using beams for most of the time I've been playing. That's just been the PvE meta. So having a different option that's viable is amazing. PvE. Like I started out, I wanted to use cannons back when I started playing. I did some stuff with the Romulan plasma way before Legacy of Romulus, right around it. I think those were right around the same time. So, um, started playing not long before Legacy of Romulus and tried some cannon stuff. But beams just were superior for so long in PvE. PvP beams weren't really the best thing ever. That was nice with the awe before it got changed last year, but cannons have been superior in PvP for a long time. Right now I have the Terran DHC. I've had this sensor linked wide arc sitting on the exchange for how long, and it wasn't selling, so I saw people getting good results from the wide arcs and tossed it on. Then I have the prolonged engagement phaser dual cannon. Uh, that one, if you're in a really long combat, can do about as well as the Terran. Then I've got the quad cannons on because the quad cannons slightly beat a dual cannon in most parses that I've done. And then just regular disruptor dual cannon up front there, nothing special. Then aft I have heavy phaser and disruptor turrets, and then a random disruptor turret. Nothing special. Just note though that you cannot run the two heavy turrets and get the two-piece. You still have to run the console. I was just checking something out. Yes, the Withering Barrage trait. For the other traits I'm running, I've got Emergency Weapon Cycle, of course. Promise of Ferocity. Being Scatter Volley doesn't have the damage buff traits like Rapid Fire does. This one being a Cat 2 is good. There is the trait from the Vengeance, but it is trash. It's like 30% Cat 1, less than attack console. Then I have Cold Hearted, which is from the Winter ship we got just a few months ago. If you did not get that ship, you can hate yourself. Seriously, a very, very powerful trait. Pretty much a must-have. And then I'm running Superior Command Frequency, but I can swap that out to whatever. I was just running that because I was doing an ISA the other day. Yeah, the quad cannons are. Let's take a look at the parse there. See how Prolong did pretty bad there. So Terran came in number 1, of course, and the wide arc, quad phaser cannon, then the dual disruptors, and then the prolonged. I guess the combat wasn't long enough. It's odd. Bit of results I'd have liked. Oh yeah, it's the same as in any game, man. If you pug it, you're gonna get just terrible teammates. If you go into one of these things just solo queuing, you gotta basically be ready to solo it. I had a nice forum thread pop up after Elite Pug I did a few months ago. That was really interesting. Very entertaining for sure. I basically was an idiot and queued for Battle of Corfez Elite and was hoping for something from my teammates, and I instead had people who had the type of results you would usually see in like ISA at the very bottom of your team's performance. So I dropped in the team chat, please don't queue for more elites until you've improved your build, and then I linked them to STO builds and said go here to improve your build. That triggered one of the guys on the team and went and made a very nice forum thread. But with just the pug teams in any game, you just expect nothing from your team. It's honestly, I know it's elitist, but I would very much prefer having an option to solo queue ISA and just go in by myself rather than carry people that refuse to improve their builds. Just something that is common. Yeah, you could even do. I was thinking about just trolling it up and like putting the wide, or not the wide, the quad plasma cannons on. Keeps changing this battery out. Because the alliance set, but I kept the phaser ones on and just kept it to phaser and disruptors because that's the counter command set's only for those two, and the Bajoran console buffs phasers. But the alliance two piece, the dynamic, and the NX console, those also buff phaser or plasma. So those have potential to do some good. Get in position here. There was some queues you could solo queue privately, but they removed that option. Honestly, with the way the game is, I think we should have the option if we want to go in and be able to go in by ourselves in any private queue. That's terrible, Goss. Yeah, it's just a matter of finding it's much easier to do this map and survive if you're on a Romulan using like the Valdor console, warp shadows, all that fancy stuff. A bit too aggressive right now, I can tell you that. Killed because of my aggressiveness. Okay, that wasn't as I thought it was going to be. I thought I was a goner there early on. Somehow I pulled through that. I dropped Supremacy. I'm not even running Leech now. You see the amp modifier on your warp cores? Doesn't matter anymore. They nerfed it. Well, they didn't nerf it. They fixed it. It was doing more than it was intended to do, and now it's a Cat 1, and it's not as important to have your power levels maxed out. I'm running emergency power to weapons and engines. And then I'm running Ox to Bat, so I have high weapons power, I have high engine power, my shield power is okay, but nobody actually cares about shields because your shield power does basically nothing. And, well, I don't really care about my Ox power because I'm not a Cyboat. What I used to do that with Japori, but honestly, if you can go to Argala and do that, Argala's a bit faster. I really wish they would have not nerfed, you know, the Borg red alerts and Tholian ones. That would have great. This game trolling me. I just hate when you get the Hirogen. I hate any NPC group that has a sub nuke. Sub nuke is just too powerful. Especially when you've got multiple things spamming it on you. Yeah. I'm running cannon locators because I'm doing the cannon build with the different types, so all cannons. Hello, Jan. Yeah, CCA is great for, the quick dill, the quick marks, quick salvage, but for the actual XP, it is pretty bad. XP rewards in general in this game have always been trash, and they're not gonna. Scimitar. A sensory. The Scimitar is the top ship when it comes to min-maxing because the consoles it has on it are amazing. You want to get the set, but like you've got the flagship tactical computer from the tactical variant. That does nice things for you and your entire team, like increase your firing cycle haste. Off of the engineering variant, you have the adaptive emergency systems console, which gives you resistance and an all damage buff for 30 seconds. And the third one is you can do the one off the science if you don't have it, but if you have the timeline stabilizer, that counts as part of the set. So that's off the Krenum Psi ship they released, the anniversary event in 2016. But there's a reason the Scimitar is just like the best overall DPS ship in the game, and it's just so versatile. It can do pretty much anything. It's crazy. For feds, you have the Vengeance. That's probably the closest thing a fed can get to a Scimitar. So the Zentar, Zenkethi Dreadnought, isn't too bad either, but I haven't seen one of those out with DPS Vengeance. Yeah, and if you do that 3-piece on the Scimitars, I'll pull it up here. If you're shot at all, while a shield facing is depleted, you get a chance to apply this very nice thing here that's up to 3 stacks. So a potential of up to 30% cat 2 all damage for 10 seconds, but if you're being shot at enough, it'll keep going. And because the Scimitar is a Romulan Singularity Cord ship, you get access to Singularity abilities, which actually are very good. Yeah, you get the Hangar Bay 5-3, and you get the Romulan Battle Cloak. Like I think there's a lot of people that underrate how valuable that cloak is in PvE. So if you cloak up and you stay in cloak for a few seconds, let's compare this here. So this weapon says 2539 come out, and it went up about 400 to 500 DPS there because there's a 30% cat 2 damage buff you get after you decloak. You can extend that duration with infiltrators. You can stack the different versions of it. It's not multiple same type. You can't stack 2 superior ones, but you can stack a normal infiltrator and a superior. But even with just the superior infiltrator on, that's 15 seconds of that damage. So nice. Yeah, I would take the Scimitar over the Husnock even. just due to everything the Scimitar has going for it. Like, in that Borg infestation I did there, this Warp Shadow ability just saved me numerous times. It makes the enemies target a faux decoy of me instead of me. So, you let that build up, you can even get 5 of them out. It's stupid. And I don't remember if I mentioned it, you can also run the Valdor console. This is off the Valdor Heavy Warbird. It's some low-level Romulan ship. C-Store. When below 90% on any shield facing, your weapons have a 2.5% chance per shot for all energy weapons to restore shields for 200% of outgoing damage. It's just absurdly good. I've seen runs where that console does easily 10k healing per second by itself. All the shields, but it's still helping your survivability. Four minutes for it. Do another ISA here and see how terrible I do. Oh, and with this battle cloak thing on the scimitars, neat little trick that some of you may not know. For the ambush buff, you only have to be in this for 3 seconds. So as soon as you see it hit 2, you can decloak and get the ambush. Simon, that is a per shot proc on that comp. But yeah, I think you'd asked about that. I'm sorry. I never did find out. I honestly haven't run that shit. I've been a bit busy in life. Being some things I'm going through, some legal issues with a family member, and school. The time I do spend gaming, I'm not doing STO. Terrible at keeping up with STO videos. Why I'm doing the streams is because something easy, I can answer questions on the spot. You guys can watch that. High quality. Yeah, if you're doing the scatter volley stuff, it's definitely worth picking up for trait. Boy, 10k. 10K hurts. Guys saying Mark, yeah, dual cannon speed, heavy cannons if chemo sustain. Also means that regular turrets beat heavy turrets. This back to what I was saying with the guy in 10K saying about not understanding that there's combat time restrictions in place for the parser uploading ISA. It's thinking you can just do a quick burst of like 300k, stop doing combat, and sit back, and that be able to be uploaded for you. It's not how it works. ISA goes. I don't think I have enough dill claim left to finish this. Just this one sub track. Need another 22k after this project roll. Get this renewable up to tier 5. I'm legitimately about out of bill claims here. Down to 200k or 232k. Cost on this holding. The base inertia? Good question. Yeah, I say just popped, so I'll show you at the end of this. I don't quite remember what the base inertia is. See what it is for. I've not done too much with dedicated port boats. They were never really my thing. They just duped. Failed to slow down. Five. What I was doing with the fleet credits, I had the excess ones because I had issues with my KDF. That I was dumping a bunch of dill into my KDF fleet. I went and bought a bunch of the purple fleet offs. The just from the personnel officer, so they're just sitting in boxes still for me to open, but you can buy 50 of them for 1,000,000 fleet creds. Terrible. I'd like it if this thing would stop messing up my batteries every time I go and change. Okay, so inertia, I don't remember. Is it, yeah, okay, so it's at 20. 20 inertia. Yeah. It's still a very slow ship to control. Yeah, Chile. I would say at this point, just I think our focus just get renewable up to tier 5. Um, Getting the Kentari bridge officers for everyone wouldn't be bad, but that's just such a grind. I mean that's like what is this? That's 12 million dill for us to get up to tier 5 morale. Basically, it's just not worth it. We can grind the provisions up and just get map invites. There's already fleets that have tier 5. Like Ruin the Fun, he's got everything at tier 5. Eon, if you're doing the EPG stuff, I would say keep with the Solane. You could also do the Bajoran deflector if you wanted. I think Bajoran is better overall. The Solane gives you a little bit more HP though. But with the Bajoran, you can do 50 EPG, 40 Control X, and 30 Drain X. Yeah, Solane is a mission one. The Bajoran one is from the mission that had us do for the anniversary. Guess I could do these Romulan patrols. Let's see, which one do we start with here? Let's go with the classic Japori. Japori doesn't get enough attention. Yeah, the truth, Eon. The truth is that STO is a game that is perfect. There's nothing ever wrong on the cryptic servers. It is always on your side. Your main abilities not activating after you spam them, 50 times is not rejection from the server. It's definitely your connection. There's no way cryptic can do any wrong. Oh, I just messed up my positioning for these things. Just as I get an arc. Move, you whale. So I was doing a bunch of stuff the other day with like DPS mark and not a bunch, just a few games around some. I had this really lovely feature. It was just definitely an issue on my side, and my scatter volley using to register about 10 out of 10 times. It's great. I hit CSV and then suddenly it's on a 15-second cooldown and it's not active. Which you definitely do not see in the parse. You don't see like a nice gap there. Chemo's still chemo's where it was before. I mean, not much has changed with chemo. It's just you can proc it a bit more if you use like dual cannons. I have no idea what the system is. I don't remember. I don't know, like roll here. Raya. Sorry if I don't sound like too energetic. I'm working on fixing my sleep schedule again for stuff this week, so I usually would have been in bed by this time already. Last few days. So while I'm sitting here shooting stuff, doing very repetitive content, does anyone have any questions? Also, yeah, and the other thing is just keep in mind chemo is still a first shot proc. What would make me quit for good with STO? If they'd have to do something really stupid to get me out for, like, you see that DPS cap recommendation. It's just such a stupid thought whenever it's brought up. I don't think any of the devs have ever taken that seriously, though. I don't know, I'd have to say just more things that push out the player base, because the game's already pretty dead at endgame, compared to how it's been in the past. I mean, I don't think STO's dying right now, no. So. But the game has certainly seen better days. Honestly, I think if this next expansion, if it fails, hopefully, based on things, it's gonna be something hopefully like Legacy of Romulus is what I'm hoping. But if it fails to deliver something substantial, then I think that'll pretty much be it. I don't see the game really catching up if the next expansion fails. You are going to have a tough time trying to make a cruiser viable in PvP. I'll tell you that right now. But to make it viable, it's hard to say. The issue is with cruisers is they're just big easy targets for size to lock down and the vapor to come in and hit. Yeah, I don't have much faith in their decisions with stuff, so I'm expecting that this... I'm personally expecting the worst outcome with this expansion, so... I think in any case, this game will be around for many, many more years because of what it is and how much investment we have. I mean, look at it now. You've got people that will just log in and sit around and chat in like ESD Zone all day. They'll go out and buy whatever new ships come out. They'll buy the new lockbox. It's, you know, everything in the new lockbox. You're gonna always have people like that, no matter what the actual like state of the end game and stuff is. Nah, I don't want to see another expansion that's like Agents of Yesterday. Like we don't know for sure if we're getting a new faction quite yet, or you know any faction races, whatever. But if we do, I'm hoping it's something like Legacy of Romulus, where there's a substantial amount of content behind it, which I would hope that a new expansion would have, being that they've pretty much put nothing, basically nothing out for most of the last how many months. There's just been nothing new content-wise to do. They best have a lot of new content in this expansion to make up for it. Otherwise, you just gotta wonder, what have they been doing with their time? But if this is the expansion that ends up, if it's a new faction and ends up like Agents of Yesterday, that will be really disappointing. I thought, from a content standpoint, just the Agents of Yesterday expansion was just underwhelming, extremely underwhelming. A new faction that really wasn't new. And basically, what, like 6 missions? which is disappointing. Uh, with the with where the game is right now, nothing has improved in the last 6 months. Stuff is even deader in some aspects than it was. There's more people doing PvP than there is high-end like min-max DPS stuff at a very high level. Yeah, we will definitely have a new Gamma Quadrant, so that'll be interesting. See how that sector space turns out. I just hope it's more than 6 missions. Yeah, the account wide unlocks from the temporal characters really good. They're not gonna do something as bad as Stealth Rising again, though. They're not gonna give us a new tier of ships. If they came out with tier 7 ships after releasing tier 6s for how long? You ask what would make me quit, there would be something. If we got tier 7 ships and we're forced to get all of our old ships yet again, I think that'd be it for me. So, see what trash I got from this endeavor. It's not the endeavor. 2K dill. You asked about a fully nerd alert Eon, so how that. They had like separate teams going at that. From what I remember for console, they brought in a team to go in and work on porting the game over to consoles. Same as what Neverwinter had. What was it? I'm trying to remember. Like they brought in for Neverwinter like a team of 50 people or something to go get everything set up for consoles. The thing with the Agents of Yesterday expansion was I'm pretty sure it was Rikoso or someone high up at Cryptic there said that they had a bunch of missions ready to release for Agents of Yesterday, and it just felt like we never got them. I think I recall them saying something about 20 something missions ready to go, and then we got like 6. Disappointing. Leon, if you're still around, there you go. Took just a few seconds. Man, scatter volley misfired. My internet must be acting up again. I've burned up most of my fleet related assets just doing what I've done with the colony holding. I don't think I could manage to look at another fleet. Going back, just Eric, if you have Eric, for your build you're trying to set up for people, I would say post it to STO builds, or STO PvP, or the PvP Bootcamp Discord. PvP Bootcamp Discord's going to get accurate information wise. There's not too much PvP stuff on STO. Generally, a few there not that are not the PvP. Discord is going to be overall the best bet to help, but I still, even with the cannons, the single cannons, it's going to be tricky to get a cruiser to work in current meta. I don't think they're going to reduce the cost for the colony hold at any point. They're getting 2,000 to 3,000 bucks worth of bill out of each. That maxes out their. Also, I'll note for people that are fans of SCM, like if it just completely flops, then I think funding for continuing, the server usage for the PS table on SCM will probably questionable. There's a serious flop with this expansion. I don't see people wanting to toss money down for hosting for another year. And Eric, honestly, with the PvP right now, if you're not in a science ship and don't have a cloak, you're generally going to have a pretty bad time. There's a few exceptions, like the Miradorn can do okay, but cloaks are just too powerful right now. Enzo, it's like August. I'm just saying that, if it comes down to this game, flopping hard with the next expansion, and the endgame takes an even larger hit to the player base than it already has, it's questionable if it's worth it. Because look, since season 13, the amount of activity we've had on the table has increased by 40 to 50%. There's less people doing anything at endgame, less people doing anything with queues, less people chasing gas records. It's just like if you're someone that takes the game, like a bit, you enjoy it and you want to take the end game a bit serious, chasing after DPS. How disappointing would it be to be gone a year, back a year, and nothing's changed? There's no new substantial queue. Everyone's still doing ISA, maybe HSEs here or there. That's just disappointing end game. Enzo, the issue with it is that we talked about doing that last year. I brought it up with Alfie. Alfie doesn't want to spend the time to do that with SCM right now. He doesn't have the time to, and any free time he has, he's not really doing STO much, and he doesn't want to spend that over. But the option we were looking at, like maybe Amazon Web Services, something there, see if there's anything cheaper. It's not like the thing is too expensive right now, but it's still just a little bit of a pain. Like, I'm still stuck on that question of, what would make me quit, but like just with the state that the end game is at right now, I haven't bothered doing like contraband on my characters and ages. Like I've stopped doing that regularly. I've stopped, so that's basically cutting off my dill production. I will admit I tossed a little bit of money into the game when the Phoenix box came out and when that last ship bundle came out, but it's just hard to justify it all anymore. It's just, you toss money at it and it's literally getting you nothing anymore. It's just the same content we had a year ago, really. There's nothing new to do. So hopefully the new expansion, changes things and makes everything better. So anyone got any other questions? Yeah, and I remember that stuff. It's crazy how many exploits get into the game. They don't really have much QA going on anymore. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Like, it's actually, with these STO streams, there's something, with the talking, but if you're watching this is something terrible to watch. Like, What am I supposed to do here? I mean, most of STO is stuff that if I were a viewer, it's boring to watch. You can watch me do the ISAs that happen in a minute, you know, every for 2 minutes every half hour. You can then, but there's so much dead time in between stuff, so much waiting. Yeah, can you like send me the name of that fleet? Swap over and invite it here after this ISA. Like, there's things I wish that they would do with this game. Like I've seen possibilities that they have. Um, like with DOF slots. The actual hard cap in the game is 8 duty officers for space and ground. I really wish they would go and just give us those extra slots, allow us to purchase those from the Spire holding for, you know, extra dill and stuff. There was an exploit about February of last year where some people were able to get 8 duty officer slots. The issue was you had to do it on characters that had not already purchased the 6th slot. I did it on a Fed engineer and sent that to Spartan after I confirmed it. It's like, why would I confirm something like that on an engineer of all characters? The engineer I put 8 DOF slots on. Talk about wasted potential. It was when they were messing around with the overflow bag. It was the same way people were getting all those lockbox ships. They quickly fixed that. They banned a bunch of people for the lockbox part too. But for the duty officers, they didn't seem to ever do anything. Sent that to Spartan. I guess they didn't really fix it quickly. Because I sent that to Spartan pretty much right after I found out about it. And they didn't fix it until the next weekly patch. So it was about a week. That was when I was playing this game much more. Is this thing gonna pop already or what? Can't even get ISA to pop. Oh, no drama. Man, there's all the drama. Well, there was drama, but I deleted those videos. That would, yeah, I mean, that would end up being a bit cringy, I'd say. That suggestion there. I just hit that the wrong spot. Quick, if you want drama, you can go read Leaks for STO. Man, I can't believe how salty that guy is. We kicked him from the fleet. He was triggered before because someone posted leaks from his subreddit on somewhere. So he purged all of the leaks off it. And then started posting a bunch of drama crap. Man, should have kicked that guy from the fleet sooner. 160. Why am I stuck around 160? What have I done wrong? Hi David. Yeah, the end game is going through Drozana and doing dance emotes. Yeah, that is the true end game. Like now, back to the this being terrible stuff to watch. Like, look at this. After each ISA, if you want to wait for your cooldowns, they don't automatically reset at the end of the match. No, you gotta sit up in space for 15 minutes. Yeah, I'll invite it. Why don't I have a Zambian? It's a great question. Yeah, man, Drozana is like OP. Need more characters. Quake, can you go through and do my contraband for me? I read on Leaks for STO that I have a bot, but for some reason, like, it's not doing my contraband for me. Like, I don't get it. Where's all my dill if I have a bot? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, David. Next time you want a low 4.6 mil, you can just mail the key to me. David, there's another thing you can do that will help you out. Now, this is a very complicated process, but I think you could manage it. Basically, you need to invite the Christopher at the Unknown to Evil Grandpa's and make him a rank 7. You then need to demote all of the other rank 7s and just leave the fleet to him. That is how you solve all of your issues. And that is the true endgame for you. All this talk lockboxes want to gamble. Because I haven't opened enough of these things. Like I'm going on 20,000-ish. Gotta be. Look at that. Now that's what we call disappointment. Oh, David, you've heard wrong. Just invite him to your fleet and everything will be solved. So, like, I usually just hold down my spacebar when I'm spam buying something. So, let's go here. Salvage anyways. So what I do is I hold down spacebar. Just, buy all this stuff. Just double click a bunch. I think you can do it with control also. So just spacebar. Yeah, spacebar is smashing. Best thing to do in STO anyways. Salvage is cheap now. This is working. Don't worry, I can't buy every key. Quake, I'm scared. No purple. Disappointing. The spacebar is what matters most in this game. If you don't have a proper spacebar etiquette, then I don't know. Game, this fleet, 9th fleet, used to be really active. Good friends with a lot of their fleet leaders. The Husnock trait is good. It just requires that you're on a ship that has a temporal bridge officer. Keybinds restrict DPS. If you mess them up, potentially, yeah. Like there's that distribute shields thing that can interrupt your firing cycles. That doesn't help. But like really, I would say not using keybinds overall is going to restrict your DPS more than using keybinds. But anyway, what I was mentioning before about 8 DOF slots. So when that exploit came out, I verified it, testing it on a character that I didn't use because I think it's bad to use anything like that on competitive matter. So I sent that to Spartan and took him about a week to fix it. But just imagine the possibility if you had 8 DOF slots. You can see 8 active. That's the actual hard cap the game. Imagine the potential if you had that many DOF slots. Bit salty about this. I only worked on characters that hadn't already purchased DOF slot. Rather annoying. But this is an exploit that I personally actual added feature because it opens up so many potential options for builds. I run launch pets right on my. I run it at the end of the keybind, but noticeable. Because I know I'll have people saying I'm running 8 DOFs on my mains. I don't see an 8 here. But Dave, nobody here knows anything about exploit. So I was reading from Christopher David that all of the DPS admins have contraband bots, and like I was promised like that I would have contraband and lithium all over the place here, but like I've got contraband and it's not automatically turning itself in with the bot. It's like very disappointing to me. I feel like I've been left out or something. Talk to Christopher and see what's up. I have 50 characters. Too many. I used to do the contraband daily with the keybinds I've posted on other videos. When I did it, it was 100k dill in about 25 to 30 minutes. That's how I stayed free to play and funded most of what I did back in the day. But nowadays, I ain't got time for that. And there's something in the game I need, I'll just, toss money. Like, I will say that I am the type of person that has never let someone else on their account and never will. I I just don't trust people enough. Like if we're being real, David, STO is a game that yes has botting issues. And their detection methods, whatever they have, are terrible. There was an exploit with farming contraband in the foundry that lasted for like 4 years. There were bots running it constantly, and they didn't figure it out for 4 years. That's how terrible their bot detection is. It's a shame. Like, they invest so much in the game in various ways, but they don't maintain it. I need to keep up with this character. I was going to set this KDF up for PvP. Yeah, they did one man wave. That's it. They're extremely stupid about how they do it. Like with the Omega farming, they need to leave one map that is just, for some reason, consistently good for the bots. So you have one map that you lure all the bots to, and you then just trap them basically to gather the data, monitor how many of the things they're doing in that map, and go in and ban them. Figure out who their main accounts are, all that fun stuff. Yes, Hugo, I know what one you're talking about, and I know that a fellow YouTuber that I'm not very fond of pretty much ended that exploit overnight. I remember literally when that happened, it was within a few hours of that person finding out. They had told so many other people that it got to the GM and they disabled that NPC. Oh, and then you've got all them people in EG. They are all exploiting so hard, man. If they somehow found a way to get, the Quantum Warhead module console, like, on their side ship, just know it. I heard it from Christopher. Bunch of hackers. Oh, okay, then we're thinking of something different. I was thinking about that thing where it was some requisition officer where you matched a lower level and it was cheaper than you unmatched and you could sell it back to PC for more than you just paid for it because it scaled the item with the level. Fun to watch it barely running around and stuff. Anyone got questions? More questions? Yeah, I'll be going to bed here soon. I'm gonna wait. I'll probably end the stream shortly after I finish this, get this project taken care of. I'm done go into it. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting distracted reading some stuff on it. So if there's no other questions, we'll hop off here. Mention the offer I was expecting. I don't think people are really running simulations right now. Perfectly fine. All. Okay. Well, there's be no more questions. So if anyone has any that they want me to answer, I think I'll try to do one of these again on like Friday or something afternoon. Just leave them in the comments of try to answer all that have been watching. Well.